into what they're going to become here. And so you have specialization in all these fields. They're all coming together, but it's all for one thing.
Mm-hmm. And you think that that's when we talk about the singularity, for instance, do you think that this will be at some point kind of centralized, the knowledge and the development and all of this will be centralized under kind of one umbrella? Because on one level, I feel that we can actually tie this in together with the whole idea of one world government and one world currency. Mm-hmm. This is very much about the mono or the uni, bringing out of many one, basically, that whole ancient idea.
Oh yes, there can only be one, as there were.
Yes.
And yeah, you hear all the time that we need this world governing body to regulate this sort of thing. I mean, who's going to be in charge? This is going to change things so fundamentally. I mean, you're going to have certain countries competing with each other, and so what do you do to regulate this thing and see that the world's working on a level playing field? You hear these kinds of ideas all the time. You're always hearing about global government in these papers about this technology. I highly recommend reading a paper on cognitive neuroscience, for example. Google cognitive neuroscience, find a paper, and start reading it. And you will find some interesting things in that report. Or nanotechnology or anything, biotechnology.
Yes.
Go for it.
We're at the cusp of something really scary when you begin to go into these fields and really study what is possible. It's kind of you get that kind of what do you call it? A thrill almost in one way, but it's very much you're going down the roller coaster too fast. It's like, whoops, where is this going?
Yes. Well, the thrill is what they're hoping you feel like. Everybody has seen these comic book movies, everybody sees these superheroes, and now they want to be the superheroes.
Yeah.
And you look at those comic book movies; they're very interesting. They're about they are talking about this science. They're talking about converging technology and transhumanism. You see these themes in the movies and the military-industrial complex, like Iron Man, the guy who's owns a military-industrial complex company, and he's building this mecha suit thing that they're actually working on now. They're working on these mech suits.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exoskeleton.
And the Hulk. Yeah, exoskeletons. Yeah, those are interesting, aren't they?
Very much so. So, I mean, there's many different areas that seems to come under one umbrella here, so to speak, and again, we have this idea of nanotechnology coming into this field, also very interesting, aspect to all of this. We have a possible AI or something kind of external overseeing this and an external intelligence. And I think, last night, just before our feed was broken, basically, or the computer froze up, I don't know if you heard that or not, but I asked you this, or basically made the point, and you can comment on it or if you want or not. And that was this idea that it seems to be almost that we're creating a god-like entity, actually, in one way, because this is going to be kind of an omnipotent being, an intelligence that is going to be able to oversee everything. We can even go back to that idea of the all-seeing eye in the sky, or the eye of providence, at the back of the dollar bill or what have you, that this is going to be a one singular presence that's going to oversee everything. And if we haven't, if we consider the idea that God is dead, as we talked about yesterday, then this idea is that we are now recreating that God that is dead. Any thoughts on that?
Now we're getting into the good stuff. Because, definitely. This is the really interesting aspect to all of this. And in the NBIC report that I mentioned, they say flat out that this is a new alchemy. They say that this is alchemy, what they're doing with this technology. Mm-hmm. And what is alchemy? It's the philosopher's stone. The philosopher's stone. Well, what is a stone? You think about what a stone is. That's a symbol. What's an obelisk? An obelisk is the stone. So see, it's the creative aspect of the male. It's the male creative aspect. And so the Philosopher's Stone, see God, how does God create? God doesn't create he doesn't create life by being two separate beings, like a man and a woman, and creating a new life. It can create by itself. Mm-hmm. God creates just by thinking of something. So see, the Philosopher's Stone is his mind. See, through the ultimate attainment of alchemy, one reaches godhood by being able to create outside of the sex act and being able to create with his mind. That's what the ultimate form of alchemy is, and creating this new golden man. You're talking about the golden man in a golden age. You're talking about the sun. And again, we're talking about Ra, the eye in the sky, the one God. And there you have it. Man's become a god on earth through alchemy.
Yes, absolutely. I think that this is a fascinating area with the idea again that you just have to think, basically, in that sense, to manifest something, that the technology will instantly kind of respond to your wishes, if you will, then. So we will become, in that sense, if this technology indeed will pan out, and if we indeed will end up at that position, we will become very much like creators. And again, we can go back to that from a philosophical point and think about it. Is that the point maybe of creation, or do you think that this? I mean, because if we have this possibility, is it inherently wrong to do so, or is it just that do you think that we're just not ready to go there yet, or do you think that just you want to stay away from that altogether?
I don't think humanity will ever be ready to take on that kind of responsibility. When you get into becoming a god and taking creation into your own hands, boy, you are opening up a whole can of worms that I don't think is meant for humanity to ever open up. And this theme is everywhere. It's what reaching enlightenment is all about, really. The light of Lucifer, that's what it is. Becoming a god on earth. And no, I don't think it's right for anybody to do. And
do you think that we will that civilization and will collapse before we reach such a point? Because that's possibly what I'm seeing here in that sense. There's some kind of resonance that coming back from the more ancient world, where I feel at least that we have had a very high culture in that sense, but something happened back then. Even the Bible, if you want to get biblical on this thing, talked about that idea of one language, the Tower of Babel, etc., high culture, but then something happened there, and it feels to me that something like that might happen again in some sense. What do you think, Aaron?
Yeah, well, supposedly the old Golden Age, Atlantis or whatever, the Atlanteans, and you have all the mythology surrounding that, and this whole idea of reaching alchemy here with technology is the new Atlantis. We've heard this concept of the new Atlantis over and over again. Wasn't it Francis Bacon? Did he write the book, The New Atlantis?
Absolutely, yeah.
And it was about what happens when we go into this new golden age and we've attained these goals of reaching the highest form of alchemy that we can. That's an enlightened world, a world of logic and reason, a world where there's no more war. It's a utopia. And is it possible to actually get there? I don't think so. I don't think it's ever possible to have a perfect world. I don't see that. And I see the intentions here of the people who are bringing about this supposed utopia and their methods of doing it. And it makes you understand things at a really deep level. I'd encourage anybody to really take some time to introspect and understand what these things are that we're talking about here, because I can't convince anybody of my own opinion or to even understand these ideas. These ideas are so they're amazing concepts, and if you take the time to actually think about them, it'll make a difference in your life. I know it has for me, and I just hope that other people can have that experience, because it's something amazing.
It is, absolutely, and you know, this might be a good place here to take a little break, and I want to ask you if you want to continue talking a little bit more with us in the member section. What do you think, Aaron?
Yeah, I'd love to. That'd be great.
Because I do want to get into a little bit more, ask you a little bit about some of the mindset of some of these people that are striving for this particular technology and what might be behind that, so to speak, and also get into a little bit more other areas. We can talk a little bit more about the NICB report that we mentioned before, get into some of the more mechanics of this, so to speak, and see what we might be looking at here in the future years. But why don't you mention obviously the title of your film again, so people can do a search for it. If not, we're going to have this linked up on Red Eyes, of course. But the title of your film, and also mention your YouTube channel, or if there's any other websites out there that you want to give out, so people can look into this some more.
Yes, the title of the film is The Age of Transitions. It's available on Google Video, and you can download it there too. You can download it in low quality. I don't currently have a high quality version available on the internet. I would like to make that available. I do have this in DVD quality, and I'm giving out the DVDs for free to people. This film, I intended it to be no profit. I'm not making any money on this film. I just want to put it out there. But I'm very open to working with other people, possibly setting up my own website, or working with other people if they would want me to write reports up or write little pieces up. I've got tons of ideas in my head, or they want to work on a video together. Get a hold of me. Go to my YouTube page. It's YouTube/ADDTV, and I also have MySpace and stuff like that. I'm sure that computer savvy people will be able to find that. I'll put a link on my YouTube page to that. And I really should get my own website going, but I don't at this point in time.
Okay, very good. But in the meantime, then go to youtube.com/ADDTV and do check out some of Aaron's films, and to get more, to get in contact with Aaron, basically. So, okay, so thank you very much here for this segment, Aaron. Stay with us. We'll take a short break, and we'll be right back. Thank you very much for tuning in. Check out part 2 with Aaron Franz, as we'll continue talking about the mentality of some of the people behind the transhumanist movement. We'll talk more about AI, Second Life, and why there primarily are men involved in these areas. We'll also talk a bit more about NBIC, the NBIC report, how this connects with terrorism, and much more. So don't miss our continuation with Aaron Franz coming up in our member section at redicecreations.com. Thank you for tuning in to our first segment, and my thanks to producer Fredrik. Happy New Year, and we'll see you on the other side. Much more radio and exciting webcasts ahead.
Mountain of my